Welcome to this deep dive. Today we're getting into something that definitely made some waves.
Mhm.
We're looking at Ramy Youssef's comments on Palestine during his Saturday Night Live monologue. That was back in March.
Right. And we've got some news coverage plus an interview with Youssef talking about it afterwards.
Exactly. So our mission here, for you listening, is to really unpack what he said, his take on the reaction, and the specific points he was trying to highlight about the conflict.
And it's interesting how he started. He opened with Assalamu alaikum dosten,
Yeah.
greeting everyone in Arabic.
Yeah, and then almost immediately shifted gears, made it very personal.
Super personal. He mentioned his friend Afed asking for prayers for his family.
And it wasn't just a vague send prayers thing. He actually shared the specific prayer right there on live TV.
Which was, Kuda Ahmed ke garwa lom ki madad fahma, lom katam ho logon ki azadi ho, or tamam hostage logri hahon.
Which translates for everyone to, God help Ahmed's family, end the oppression, bring freedom to the people, and free all the hostages.
And the way he delivered it, the context he gave, it really framed it as a human plea.
Absolutely. A humanistic prayer. And that's something he emphasized later too, wasn't it?
It was. In that New York Times interview, he put it pretty bluntly. Jo kuch mein kaha, usmein kuch bhi offensive nahi tha.
Meaning, what I said was nothing offensive. Straightforward enough, you'd think.
Well, yeah. But as we know, talking about Palestine, it's incredibly sensitive territory. Backlash is almost, expected sometimes.
Right. And Yusuf obviously knew that going in. But what really stood out to me was his reason for speaking anyway.
Wait, was that?
He said, "Main chaprekar zyada gabrata hona. Bona mushkil hai lekin khamosh rehna usse bhi zyada taklif deh hota hai."
Which means?
I am more afraid of being silent. Speaking is difficult, but being silent is even more painful. That really says a lot, I think.
It really does. It points to like a personal conviction, a feeling that he had to say something despite the potential difficulty.
Yeah, it sort
I
of
was gonna
highlights
guess
that
it was a
tightrope
very
walk
well
of
done.
public
and I was
figures,
gonna try
doesn't it? Addressing these huge, emotionally charged global issues.
Definitely. You try to offer a balanced, maybe humanitarian view, and it can still get twisted or cause controversy.
And speaking of how things get framed, he also touched on the language we use, questioning if just calling it a war really captured the whole picture.
Right. He brought up the power dynamics involved. That analogy he used was quite striking.
The wrestling match one.
Yeah, exactly. Where one wrestler has total control over the other one's food and water.
Yeah.
He said,
Let me see if I remember. Gasa ka pani bijli aid sab kuch control mein hai.
जब साइड का इतना ज़्यादा control हो, तो ये power का imbalance है और ये undeniable है.
So Gaza's water, electricity, aid, everything is controlled. When one side has so much control, it is a power imbalance, and that is undeniable.
It really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? Away from maybe an idea of two equal sides to, something else, an imbalance.
A clear imbalance of control, especially over just basic survival needs. And he kind of brought it all back to a fundamental point at the end.
A very fundamental and, in his view, totally uncontroversial point.
What was the exact quote again?
किसी सी को चाहे ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि लोग बॉम्ब से मार दी जाए और किसी को hostage बनाया जाए.
No one should want people to be killed by bombs.
And no one should be taken hostage. And then he adds, yeah, kina bill could be controversial na hai, saying this is not at all controversial.
It seems like such a basic statement of, human decency. Don't kill civilians, don't take hostages.
Pretty hard to argue with on the face of it.
So thinking about all this, Youssef, seeing his statement as inoffensive, this very human prayer, this call against killing and hostage-taking, and then the various reactions it still provoked.
Yeah.
Well, it leaves us with a question for you, the listener, doesn't it? Considering how even this statement sparked debate, what does that really tell us about how complicated it is to even talk about these incredibly sensitive global issues in public today? It's definitely something to think about.